Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Social Media Decoded podcast, the number one podcast to help you understand social media better so that you grow your business, get more clients, and monetize. And today, I'm excited because I'm talking with an Instagram expert, y'all. I know that you all love Instagram. How do I know this? Because I look at the statistics of the most downloaded content here on the Social Media Decoded podcast, and those episodes are about Instagram. So we're going to be talking to Hannah about the ins and out of Instagram. Thank you so much, Hannah, for joining us today. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm great, excited to be chatting today. Like you said, I'm living in Instagram all the time, so happy to be talking about it.
Yeah. So could you give the listeners a little bit more information about you and how did you get started with social media?
Yes, so I have been doing a version of social media management since 2019. Before that, I have a degree in PR. I was doing internships and different things like that. I had no idea I was doing social media management, but after college, I came on as a nonprofit, worked at a nonprofit as a PR coordinator and was doing like everything, their PR, their socials, their marketing. That's just how it works in the nonprofit space. And how I kind of got into Sunny Social was we had moved from Nashville here to Colorado. And I was like, I'm just going to test it out. I stayed on working with them. That was just like a chance for convenience and things like that. I'm like, great, I don't have to immediately go find a job. I had another client at the time that I was doing her social media management. She's still a client to this day with me, a photographer client. And so I was working with her and I was working remotely and I was like, I'm just going to see how I like this. Do I like working from home? Do I like working for myself? All of that stuff. And that was kind of like my light bulb moment where I was like, oh, I love this. Like, I love this. I never want to leave my house again to go to work. Like, I love being able to structure my days and all of those different kinds of things. And so with that information, I launched Sunny Social on a complete whim, which if you know me and my personality at all, that is so out of character. Like, I am such a planner. I'm so methodical. I'm very, I just like to know what's coming. And because of those kind of perfectionistic qualities that I do have, I was like, I need to do this or I'm never going to. And so I kind of decided one day, I spent the day brainstorming ideas and names and created the account. And within a week, I had a piece of content up. And I was like, that is just what I had to do. Just like I knew I would be so debilitated by, like, if I did too much research, I would be like, I'm intimidated now, or, things like that. So it was like just jumping in 2 feet first. And from there, it just grew. Just a lot of trial and error, a lot of learning, a lot of just like hoping and dreaming and tears and all of those different kinds of things, and just figuring it out as I go. And now it's just kind of turned into something I never anticipated, never expected. My goal for 2022 was I launched Sunny Social at the end of October of 2021. And for 2022, I was like, if I can just get to 1,000 followers this year, I'll be happy. I just want a space where people can come and they can hire me. I do not care. Like I had literally when I say no expectations, I had none. And then within, I think by the end of January, I had a full client list. I had like all of it, just everything was just like falling into place in the way it needed to be. And so although it started very messily, it really just evolved into something so beautiful it has exceeded my expectations. So that's kind of how I started and where I am now, I guess. So
I love that because I love listening to other entrepreneurs' stories on how they got started and the social media space and what we do as social media management, social media agency owners, all the things is like still such a new territory. So if there's anyone listening and you're like, I want to be a social media manager, I want to freelance, you can do that.
Yeah.
If you want to start an agency, you can do that. I started off just like you. I have background and just like you, I was doing all the things at the place that I worked at in the marketing department, from email, social media. I got to do influencer marketing and I was an influencer. So I know about being an influencer on the behind and the back end side. So it's like, wait, I can totally do this for more people and start my own business. And that's what I did. And so look at how amazing this digital world we're in now, where we can start a business from our couch. And yes, it is that easy, but it is going to take some hard work and dedication. So let me not say
no, definitely.
That, right? because it's going to take some hard work and dedication. But again, it sounds like you found your niche and really said, hey, I can do this and build upon it. So for anyone listening, this is why I start these episodes with, let's share your story, because someone can resonate. So thank you so much for that. Now I want to get into the nitty gritty, right?
Yes.
We know that Instagram is like the place that everybody is obsessed with. My question, I know, but my question is, why do you think that Instagram is like the most popular platform? Well, maybe it's not the most popular, but it's the platform that most people think about that they have to be on. Why is that?
I think that for right now, Instagram, one, I think it's been around for a long time. So it's something that's familiar. It's not easy to understand. Like, it certainly is, and it has changed and evolved a lot. And it's been honestly kind of a shit show in the last few years. And so compared to that, you're like, why are people still wanting to go back to Instagram? Why are we still putting such an emphasis on growth on Instagram, getting 10K on Instagram, all of these different kinds of things? And I think really it's just still with Instagram, I think there's two narratives. It's Instagram is the place to be. It's the place to sell. It's the place you want to connect with your audience. Even the people who are on TikTok, they are still leading. They still want people to jump over to Instagram and get those follows. Why is that? And then there's this other side of like, Instagram is dead and Instagram does nothing. And I'm like, which one is it, right? Like, which one is it? And I primarily work in Instagram. That is the only platform that I offer right now for full service social media management. And so for me, what I see is so for photographers, for example, that is who I work with for full service social media management, and then small business owners for coaching and different things like that. And what I'm seeing with them is, again, that familiarity, but it's also just, this is a place where the people are finding me. So if people are continuing to find me here, I'm going to continue to put energy and effort into this space. Even if it's one inquiry, if it's one sale, they're seeing the potential there. And it's true. It's still a great, great place to be and to show up on a consistent basis if you are trying to sell in any capacity. Because one, people are going there. Again, though, it really just depends on who your target audience is. And I think that's a main thing for people, for photographers and small business owners. They're finding that their target audience is still there. They're still scrolling. And if that is continuing to happen, people are going to continue to put an emphasis on it. As far as the obsession goes, and for this obsession with 10K and things like that, that is not something I subscribe to. That is not something I'm about. But I do still see the value in the platform for sure. Why? I don't know. I think it really just depends from person to person.
Yeah, and no, you said the key point. Where is your audience?
Yeah.
Your audience is millennials. They're on Instagram. Probably the largest portion of people are millennials on Instagram. I know for me, the largest following is of that age range of 35 to 45, and the next age range from 45 to 60. That's like my highest age range. But I am a millennial. I am 36. I know my skin looks so great if you're watching on YouTube, because I take care of my skin. And yes, I am 36. Shout out to the 80s babies. 80s, 86, okay? That sounds crazy today, but again, you have to know where your people are. And I know my people are on Instagram, but guess where else my people are? They're on Facebook. So I'm not on Facebook. I leverage Facebook. I think I have a couple of episodes about Facebook, so make sure you all listen to those. I want to talk next about boundaries, because it's very important with social media, and especially Instagram, to have boundaries with these apps. Now, I have a way that I think about Instagram, and I want you to tell me what are your thoughts. It's a tool. Like, I don't look at it, it's like, it's my lifestyle, I'm a part of it. No. This is a tool that's helping me in my business to reach more people. So I'm not looking at it as like, it's my thing, like it's mine, because it's not. None of those people on Instagram are ours. They're not our people. I mean, not like we don't own them. They can go away anytime, because Instagram can go away anytime. That's why I should have an email list. But I don't approach the app like, oh my God, like, if nothing doesn't get 2 likes today, my life is over, I'm worthless. Don't allow the likes and follows to make you feel that way. So what type of boundaries do you tell your clients to set when it comes to social media in their business? How do we keep it business and personal? Like, how do we keep the boundaries?
Yes.
Basically, how do we keep
that? I agree 100% with everything you're talking about. Something that is a huge emphasis in my content with my clients, with my coaching clients, is simple and sustainable. Like, it's not simple and sustainable if every single time you post, you're tying your worth to the result, to a numerical result that you have no control over. That is not simple. That is consuming. That is tying your worth of your business and your personal life, all of those things. That's harmful. Different things like that, sustainable. Why are we setting a goal of wanting to post 7 times a week if you only have the time and capacity for 3? Like, we're setting ourselves up to fail constantly with our mindset towards Instagram and social media specifically. So I put a huge emphasis on social media mindset. So I love that you brought that up. As far as boundaries go, I am the boundary queen with social media. I think that was something I learned the hard way at the beginning of my business. Was I was getting on Saturdays and I was working 12-hour days and like all these things. It was becoming part of my life when really, like you said, it's a tool. It's an aspect. It needs to work for me. I am not working for it. Even as a social media manager, Instagram is not the primary place I am 24/7. There are other aspects of our businesses. And especially for those of us who are small business owners, who aren't social media managers, who aren't influencers, who are just using it exactly as a tool. It's really easy to fall into this space of consuming more than we're creating, and for focusing so much on the numbers and trying to get to this random 10K that as a society has decided is like the ultimate thing to be, and when it's like has absolutely no depth in like converting or sales or anything like that. So something that I started implementing was I take every weekend off social media completely. I do not get on Instagram. If I was working a traditional 9 to 5, I would have Saturdays and Sundays off. So I do not utilize Instagram on those days. If you're like, that is not happening, you're a crazy lady, like maybe start with Sundays. Like maybe start with Sunday. Like maybe it's not the whole entire weekend. Maybe it's just Sundays. Maybe it's Sunday afternoon, but focusing on allowing your brain to breathe, to take that break, to allow yourself to rest, to truly rest. Like, especially if you're using Instagram with your business, like never taking a break. You're taking a break from working on projects. You're taking a break from talking to clients. Why aren't we taking a break from scrolling? Why aren't we taking a break from posting? Why aren't we taking it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've treated it, because it's so integrated into our personal lives as well, we have kind of crossed that line. And so taking breaks on the weekends has been so helpful for me. I start Monday morning off fresh. If I have given myself a time to breathe and have a rest, I'm able to go into my client work as well. I have been able to come with a fresh point of view. And then something else I do is after work, I have an after work routine. So like what I've kind of deemed it as, and I have this shutdown process. If you're anything like me, a little high strung, a little nervous, a little anxious, like if you're like that, have a hard time with working too much, like that's something I know a lot of us as entrepreneurs and small business owners struggle with, is just turning it off. Is I have this after work routine that kind of sets my brain into, okay, we are transitioning into our evening. We're transitioning into our personal life. We're transitioning into fun now. And for me, that includes, again, not scrolling in the evenings. So those are two things, like very actual I can't think of the word, but actual hard things that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis that are helping me create better boundaries with social media. It's just finding whatever works for you, whatever is going to fit into your lifestyle, setting yourself up for success. Again, not setting goals out of your control, not trying to post 7 days a week when you don't have the time for that, not choosing a post time when you're trying to get your kids out the door every morning. If the Instagram tells you 8 a.m. is the peak post time for your followers to post, but you know that does not fit into your life, so you're not going to be able to post, you're not going to be able to engage, you're not going to be able to interact, that's not actually the best time for you. So it's all about making social media work for you, understanding the rules so you can break them, so you can integrate them into your life, and boundaries are part of that. Really being aware, paying attention to how you're feeling when you're getting on and scrolling. I think that was the biggest thing for me. Was I would get on Saturday mornings to try to casually scroll, and then I would just start getting so anxious and start getting so weighed down because it was an association with work now. So that's super important.
You just gave us a masterclass there. So I definitely, please go back and listen to what Hannah has said about setting boundaries and our mindset with social media and Instagram, because I definitely agree with you. I think it has kind of become a part of our lifestyle, but it really doesn't have to be. We can take a break from it. I know I take breaks just randomly. It'll just be a day I'm like, I'm not going on social media today.
Yeah.
I don't even feel like listening to it. Because like it can, working in social media and the I know firsthand working in social media and the demand,
Yeah.
especially that marketing professionals are under. And so if you're
Yeah.
listening, I want to tell you that I feel you. I am there for you. I understand. We know, me and Hannah, we have been in those positions and we know. And so we're sending you our love. Like it's not easy. Like when it's pressure, like you said, the 10,000 followers,
Scarcity
that is some
mindset. Yeah.
mystical. It's a mystical number that somebody made up. You do not need 10,000 followers to make money. I know millionaires that have 100 followers,
Uh-huh.
1,000 followers. It's all about relationship building, especially with Instagram and utilizing, and I believe I heard you said this, other platforms, a multi-channel approach to your marketing. That doesn't mean you have to be on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Lemon8, Twitter, TikTok. No, it means the marketing mix for you, right? What's your best marketing mix?
What
So,
works for you. Exactly.
yes.
Exactly. And
So,
sorry, something that you just said too, I think is really important is if you have this fear that you're going to miss out on something, that is like, that's a scarcity, that's a mindset.
yes.
If you're worried about taking a break from social media, if that's something you're noticing you're needing, and you're like, I'm going to miss out on something, I'm going to miss a trend, whatever it is, there's no possible way to hit every single trend. There's no possible way to hit every single thing you need to. But what is important, what I say constantly, is taking care of your business, like taking care of yourself is taking care of your business. So like if you are a solopreneur, like you have to take care of yourself. You have to fill yourself up. And if taking breaks is important for you, then that's something to integrate into your routine to start making it habit. So, so important. Yeah, I loved everything you just said.
So important. So
Yeah.
important. So, where do you see the trends going with Instagram? I definitely feel like, and again, the algorithm, please don't try to hack it, learn it. It's just, it's one of those things where you really don't know. Like, I could post content and it can do amazing. And then the next time I post, it doesn't really do well. You really do have to pay attention to the times. And like, I think posting in the morning will always work. I think if you get later into the day, just from my own experience, like the post just doesn't do as good. This is why you should plan. So you can
Yeah.
just post in the morning, because if your audience is entrepreneurs, aren't they probably up by like 8, 9 o'clock trying to get into their day? And they're probably going to check social media before they start their day, most likely. So think about those things. But where do you see Instagram going? Do you see, like, of course, video focus, but now it's the broadcast channels, which I absolutely love, and I've been leveraging those. What other parts of Instagram do you think would be beneficial for people to pay attention to, rather than like reels, reels, reels? Can I get more reels?
Yeah. I think that's such a hard question every time I get asked that, because it's who like actually freaking knows. Like if the last few years have shown us anything with Instagram, it's like there is so hard to anticipate what they're going to do next, what they're going to take away, what they're going to add. Obviously, in the last couple of years, there's been a huge emphasis on video, right? Like TikTok blew up, it's been amazing. And so Instagram, of course, jumped on that bandwagon. And so for the majority of it, it was reels, reels, reels. Reels is the way to go. Reels is what you need to be putting emphasis on and your energy into. But then at the beginning or sometime in this last year, we're now reprioritizing photos. We are reprioritizing carousels, different things like that. And so it's really this like unpredictability, I think, is what causes this like nervousness around Instagram, this scarcity around Instagram. And I think, I don't know, I think it's going to have to continue to evolve. It's going to have to continue to paying attention to what the consumers are saying, or it's going to continue on this path. It's going to start leaning into that narrative of Instagram is dead, right? But they still have such a committed audience on there. They just need to start paying attention to what's working and what's not working, what we're loving and what we're not. I definitely see a pivot into more face-to-face content. That real need for connection is really real now. It's TikTok, I feel like, really jetted that into Instagram, whereas Instagram used to be this focus on cohesion and this aesthetic and this, perfect view. I think it's evolved greatly from that. But even more, I've noticed in the last 6 months, there's been this need for this personal one-to-one connection. I'm not having to dance in trending reels audios anymore. I am talking to the camera, telling you how to do something. I'm bringing you along for a day in my life. We're nosy. We have this expectation. We want this. We have this expectation of accessibility, right? And of course, you need to find in your own self like what you're comfortable with sharing and those boundaries themselves. But knowing like, if you think it's silly to be sharing something with your audience on your stories or anything like that, like know that we want that. We want that connection point. People connect with people. Like we're getting away from the mindset of like numbers. I think we're moving towards that. Like really something like your numbers are not numbers, they're people. Like treating your followers like people, talking to them like people, communicating them like people, showing their face, right? Like if we have this apprehension around, I think a big thing for Instagram specifically, TikTok, it's built in. You can't really show up on TikTok without showing your face in some capacity. Whereas Instagram, there's been an easy way to do that for years. But now it's like, we need a profile photo. We need a face to connect to. We want a face to sell us to. Like that's what we need. So I feel like I'm seeing a lot more authenticity coming. I'm seeing a lot more, just more genuine content, a lot more simple content, not this expectation for just like perfect, well-produced content all the time. And I'm loving that direction. So that's what I can confidently say. I know where it's coming. As far as Instagram itself, who knows? Every time Adam comes up on my screen, I get a little nervous.
I call him Uncle Adam. Uncle Adam. If y'all watch my videos, you know, Uncle Adam said, yes, Uncle Adam.
Every time he shows up, I'm like, what you got for me today, Adam? Is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing? Is this going to cause more?
Definitely. No. And I agree with you. I think that the trending that's going away, really, you hit the nail on the head when you said showcasing your expertise, talking to the camera, y'all. We got to talk to the camera. We have to show people that we are experts. No one's going to trust you if you're not showing your face. I just got to say that no one's going to trust you or buy from you, especially if you're a coach, consultant. You're saying you're doing these things and you're not showing up as the person that you are in this business that you created, and showcasing that you can speak, showcasing that you're the expert. They want to hear from you. You may not think that they do, but me and Hannah are guaranteeing you that they are nosy. So they want to see the behind the scenes, share the day in the life. I got a whole contemplation of like content that I need to get out there. That's day in the life. I'm going to be sharing it, y'all. So stay tuned. But like you said, sharing that expertise, I think that's really important. So
definitely the authority, it like that's what it is. It builds that trust and it builds that authority whenever you're providing value, but also like sharing and connecting from a people point of view. And trends and things like that, those evolve, and there's a time and place for fun trends. And trending audio is still a great tool on Instagram. Don't get us wrong with that, but it's still, you have to start integrating that one-on-one connection point. I think is super important.
Yes, one-on-one is important. So the next portion, before we head out, this has been such a great episode, Hannah. Thank you for dropping so many amazing gems. Please, listeners, make sure you go back and listen to this episode again. I know you love to binge all the Social Media Decoded podcasts because, you know, we post 3 times a week. So amazing episodes. We have over 230 something episodes, I believe. So thank you so much. So this part of the podcast is the book section. So have there been any books or resources that you would like to share with our listeners here today that have helped you along your entrepreneur journey?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I really wish I read more business focused books. That is something I have a goal of. I think for a long time I was hustling so hard in my business that when I was taking time to read, I was not wanting to read about business, right? Like we've all been there. But a few things that have happened, and this is kind of like business adjacent, but a book that I love that I read at the beginning of 2022 was Atomic Habits. And just like bringing that into my life and applying those things and learning about how I work and like how I can like hack my days and like make them work for me. I think as business owners, we have this perception of freedom when we get into our businesses. And if we lose all the structure we had in our 9-to-5s prior, and it's empowering on one hand, and it's absolutely intimidating on the other. It's a lot of trial and error and figuring out what works. And I have all this freedom. Okay, freedom, quote unquote. And like, how do I make that and structure my days? So that was a book that helped me so much. Another thing I did, it's not a book, but another thing that I did resource wise was I invested in doing coaching calls with people who were where I wanted to be. And I cannot recommend that enough. Being able to talk with someone who is in my industry and be like, is this pricing make sense? How do I handle this client situation? Like, what are you doing? And you can take that information and you can say, okay, I take that. I'm welcoming that. okay, I didn't love this. And being able to customize that and talk with other people in the industry, I cannot emphasize how beneficial that was for me at the beginning. Just at the beginning, I didn't know there was this whole community of social media managers. And so having just a couple of people to be able to talk to and communicate with was so helpful. Other things that have helped, again, business adjacent. I feel like I do a lot of things that help me in my business because, again, that idea of taking care of myself is taking care of my business. So like learning how I work best. Like I am a early bird. So my alarm is up. My alarm is going off at 4:30, 5 o'clock every single morning. I start my workday at 6:30 every single morning because I know that's when I'm most awake. That's when I have the best ideas. That's when I have the most energy. You get me at 2 p.m. You get me at 3 p.m. I am a different girl. I am a different person. Like that's the time I know I need to be. That's when I'm going to go work out at 3 p.m. because that's when my brain needs a break. I'm going to go sit in the sun for a few minutes. Like knowing and learning those things, how you work yourself, like that, the Atomic Habits book, and just so many other resources that aren't explicitly, this is how you run your business, but this is how you can make yourself better so you work and show up to your business better as well. I feel like that's been a big focus on for me for the last couple of years. But yeah, I have a long list of books I do want to read business-wise, like the 12-week year and like different things like that. It's just on my list of to-dos.
Yes, no, thank you so much for sharing those. And Atomic Habits has been definitely a book that several of our guests have shared. So we know that that is an amazing book. And thank you so much for those amazing tips as well. This has been such a great episode. Again, I am so appreciative of you sharing so many amazing gems. But before we head out, could you let the listeners know where can we find you? Where can we follow you online? Probably Instagram. And if we want to learn more about Sunny Social, how can we do that?
Yes, you can follow me everywhere at Sunny Social Collective. Instagram is where I'm primarily showing up, but I'm everywhere else, Lemonade, TikTok, all those things. I don't do much on them, to be honest, but you can find me there. And then, yeah, I offer full service social media management to booked and busy photographers. And then I do one-on-one coaching with small business owners or really anybody who's navigating Instagram, the Instagram space, the ever-changing Instagram space on their own, to where we can audit their account, we can go through their bio, we can really talk one-on-one and address their issues. That's something I love to do. That's like one of my favorite things, to be able to really talk with people one-on-one. So yeah, you can find me anywhere doing that.
Awesome. And we'll make sure to put all that information down below in the show notes. So make sure that you check down there. Thank you so much, Hannah, for coming on and sharing and dropping all these gems on the Social Media Decoded podcast today. And that is all for today's episode, you all. We will talk to you in the next one. Peace.
Thank you.